Welcome to Issues. I'm Vinny Politan, in for Jane Velez Mitchell. We start with breaking news tonight. The frantic nationwide search for a missing Ohio girl and her mother is over. 4-year-old Haylee Donovan has been found alive. The little girl was taken on the run almost 1 month ago by her mother, Candace Watson, and her mother's Tier 3 sex offender boyfriend, Robbie Potter.
Robbie Potter has been captured, along with Candace Watson in San Diego, California. In the company of Candace was her daughter, Haylee. She was safe, and we're going to be bringing her back to her grandmother here very, very shortly.
The missing trio was found after cops raided a Christian retreat ranch near San Diego, California, where they reportedly had been staying for at least a week. Both Watson and Potter reportedly worked in an avocado grove and told fellow ranchers that they were a family. Candace Watson and Robbie Potter were immediately arrested, while little Haylee was sent to Child Protective Services. Now, it's not often we get to report good news, but the desperate search for Haylee captured the national attention, and her safe return is the happy result. The U.S. Marshal Task Force even thanked this show, and Jane specifically, as well as Nancy Grace.
I cannot compliment the media enough here for getting the message out for us, and I know the Nancy Grace show was out there for us, and the Jane Velez Mitchell show was out there for us, and I appreciate that. We appreciate that because that provided a lot of tips to us and for us.
U.S. Marshals were alerted to the trio's whereabouts after a fellow ranch member noticed a photo of Haylee and the truck plastered on a nearby billboard. So what kind of charges will Haylee's mother and the sex offender face, and what happens to little Haylee? Straight to my panel. Stacey Honowitz, Florida prosecutor, joins us tonight. Dr. Dale Archer, a clinical psychologist. Darren Kavanoki, criminal defense attorney. And Alexis Wiley, a reporter with WSYX in Columbus, Ohio. But first, joining me is U.S. Deputy Marshal Brian Fitzgibbon, the lead investigator on this case. Marshal, first of all, congratulations on a happy ending to a long and somewhat scary search. Can you explain for everyone how you managed to track this trio down and recover Haylee?
Thank you, Vinny. I just want to say thanks for having us, and thanks for putting the word out there on this case. It helped us out immensely. The feeling that we had in the room throughout the country, we had dozens of states that were involved between the Marshal Service, local police departments, Parks Rangers, Bureau of Indian Affairs. We had so many agents and police officers that were just delighted to see that this arrest did take place yesterday, and it happened safely, and the little Haylee was recovered.
Now, you say it happened safely. I mean, officers went in there heavily armed, ready for the worst, but that didn't happen. But what was the reaction of the mother, of the sex offender boyfriend when they're arrested? Did they say anything? Did they explain why they did what they did?
Yeah, when officers made entry, they said that it appeared that they were relieved. They said, hey, they found us, here we are, you know, we're giving up. So they were somewhat relieved that the hunt was over. I guess they were tired from looking over their shoulder.
Now, here's the other thing, and we're just finding this out today. Now, Deputy Marshal, it's springtime. Love is in the air. I understand that, and I'm all for love. But now we're hearing from your comrade, U.S. Marshal Pete Elliott, that Candace, the mother, is saying that she is in love with this sex offender. Is that true?
You know, if that's the case, so be it. But, you know, when we profiled Robbie Potter, we knew that he was somebody that had the gift of gab, and we knew he would befriend somebody much as he did out in San Diego. So we were expecting something like that. Obviously, he's pulled one over on her, and she's believing his story and his quest for love.
So from your perspective, you think, well, maybe she is in love, but he's probably not in love with her, is what you're saying tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised judging dealing with somebody like Potter.
Unbelievable. Finally, how about the reaction of little Haylee as she's rescued here? What was her reaction to all this? Did she have any idea what was going on?
I'll tell you, little Haylee, she was scared at first, but I did speak to the San Diego Sheriff's deputies out in San Diego, and they were able to inform me that Haylee was doing well. One of the female deputies had her in her arms, and Haylee was holding a teddy bear that was provided by San Diego Sheriff's deputies, and she was eating a cookie and having a good time with them. So it's good to see that she's in good spirits, and that helps us all sit well.
All right, Deputy Marshal Brian Fitzgibbon, thank you for joining us tonight, and what a great job you all did in getting little Haylee back. All right now, let's turn to my panel on this one, and oh my goodness. Stacey Honowitz, I want to talk to you first. This case, we're talking about love. This woman is saying she's in love with a sex offender. How scary is that?
Well, Vinny, you would be surprised how much of this I see. You know, you asked the deputy, you said, do you think that he doesn't love her, or she doesn't know she got the wool pulled over her eyes? We know from the investigation that she knew what he was all about. She met him at the father of the child's apartment. She knew he was coming from a halfway house, so she knew he was a sex offender. Could she be in love with him? I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but certainly I believe that it happens. I see many cases where we have sex offenders where the woman is in love with them. So is it possible? Absolutely.
Well,
is she in a lot of trouble?
Good news. We've got Dr. Dale Archer with us tonight.
Yeah.
Dr. Archer, come on. Do you think she's really in love? Is it possible? You know, I mean, he's a sex offender. It's a little girl. I mean, she can't see through any of this?
Well, who knows? I mean, love schmuck. Who cares? Really, what it's all about is, as a mother, you have to put your child first no matter what. So typically in a case like this, you have someone who has had a turbulent childhood themselves. The first person that shows them the least bit of attention, they'll latch onto them and they say, oh, he loves me, I love him, everything's great. But it comes back to being a good mom first, and clearly she was not.
She was not in this case.
But
go ahead,
Vinny. If I can chime in on this one, and you know, I'm delighted with the outcome too. Although when I first heard about the case, it sounded like a bad joke, like, you know, an unfit mother, a pedophile, and a 4-year-old walk into a bar, and, you know, hijinks ensue. If she is in love with this guy, she better get a defense lawyer in there to tell her to keep her mouth shut, because she faces a variety of criminal charges: child endangerment, child neglect, maybe even helping this guy escape. And
how about aiding and abetting?
Yeah, exactly. And what she really needs to do is to posture herself as a victim in this case, and not be in love with the guy, but simply be under duress and be doing these things.
I want to bring in Alexis Wiley.
That defense won't
Everyone,
fly
I got
because
the lawyers, order in the court. I got to bring in our reporter, Alexis Wiley, reporter. How about this family that this poor little girl is a part of? I mean, her mother is in love with the sex offender. Her uncle looks like he's going to be going to trial soon, and he's locked up for another 8 years. Plus, her biological father helped the sex offender get out. Alexis Wiley, what's going on with the family here of little Haylee?
Well, it appears that many of them played an active role in this situation. We know that when Robbie Potter escaped, he went from the Mansfield halfway house to James Donovan's home. Now, James Donovan is Haylee's father. He used James Donovan's girlfriend's cell phone to call Candace. Candace came and picked him up. Kyle Watson, Haylee's uncle, was also involved in this, played an active role, and it appears that Candace really made a lot of effort to make sure that she could evade authorities. I mean, she dyed her hair, and they changed the car, and they even came up with some stories when they got to the farm in California. So it appears that everyone here, except for the grandmother, Mary Watson, played a very active role in helping this guy escape.
Yeah, and Stacey Honowitz, I mean, that's another big factor, isn't it going to be, as this case goes forward, the fact that they changed their appearance, that they went to a place where they don't have TVs, where you just go out and you pick avocados and then you go back home and you go to sleep.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I was trying to talk to Darren before. You know, the love defense is just not going to fly. She wasn't under any duress. She was active. She participated. She knew what was going on. And not only that, if she was really under any kind of duress or felt threatened, she was on a farm with all these ranchers. She never ran to somebody and said, I need help. This guy is holding me hostage. So she's got a lot of explaining to do, but she's going to have to explain it when she's behind bars, because she's going to have a lot of charges filed against her. No one's going to forgive her for anything she's done in this case.
No, it's a tough spot. Alexis, thank you so much for your help. Everyone else, hang tight. More on this amazing news in a minute. What sort of punishment should Haylee's mom face? Give us a call, 1-877